Okay, I am in a crabby mood today. I'm not feeling super spunky-licious. The world is annoying me. I'm annoyed. I'm drinking my tea. I'm drinking blueberry blackberry tea. Happy New Year, everybody. From the Obasi Posse. I will be putting up another video on top of this video. I thought I would do two. I don't know. My mind's all over the place. You guys kind of liked when I did this. YouTube took away my ability to do lives. For the time being, I still have been trying to contact them since September, to which I've gotten no response, and I'm trying to get a Facebook again, and they just don't even like my IP address, and I have a VPN and everything like that, and it's just been very impossible, and I'm shut down right away. So it's just a little frustrating. I did get a lot of video or comment requests to do the report from Iron Mountain, and I have a few books that came in, one of being the actual report from Iron Mountain that I did post about, so I got that in. Not done with it, and I have some follow-up reading material that I needed to order that coincided, that correlated with this, but I'm very excited to put this video out. It's going to be a really, really interesting video. I have another video coming out, if you guys haven't heard about Bill Gates initiating this new way of technology through ScopeX to basically inject more pollution into the atmosphere, particles that reflect the sun's rays to dim the sun. And I discussed thoroughly in this video, but I need to actually discuss further what is going to happen, because what's super weird about the story that he's trying to like portray, and it does correlate with the Iron Mountain report too, and how climate change has always been a way to, what was the word they used? Disarm the public. I think that's the word they used. Disarmament scenarios is one of the sections, and I've talked about this before. And one of the other disarmament scenarios that I talked about in regards to aliens and stuff like this, which I've done so many videos on, that was with alien invasions, orchestrated alien invasions, stuff like that. I've been studying a whole lot, and it's just been almost overwhelming, and I feel like I have so much content, and I appreciate all of you being so patient with me, because the content that I post is so thorough. I mean, it really takes time, and it's almost annoying how much time it takes, but it's also such a addiction for me, because I just want to know more, and I want to find out more. And then when I read this, oh, Penny, is there someone at my door? She went nuts. Sorry about that. I don't know if you heard my dog just bark right now. But if you read this, then it leads you to something else, and especially the Bible. There's so much more literature that I've just recently ordered in regards to the Bible, and I ordered 2 different other versions of the Bible, and I want to order actually more. One of which, if you guys haven't read, I think it's called the 1611 KJV. Is oh, there's my other highlighter that I was looking for. What did I highlight? In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine out to them. I highlighted a good one. In whom the God of this world. Yeah. Oh, this is when I was, did I put that video out yet? I don't think you guys saw that video yet. Did I finish that video? Penny and my kitty came to say hi. I don't know if you can see them on the camera. Penelopa. Can you guys hear her jingle caller? Come say hello. Come say hello. Do you guys see her? Come say hello. There. She's coming. She's coming here. She wants to come up. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Alright, she's saying hello. I don't know what I would do without her, but I was, the reason why I highlighted this verse was because I was talking, can you not? What? Are you kidding me? You just scratched the wall. Penelopa! Wow! What was that for? I'm highly disappointed in you. Ew. Okay. So, sorry about that. It's okay. She actually, I mean, it's just like a black mark from her nail. I'll get rid of it. The reason why I highlighted this verse was because they used the little g in the Bible, and I made a video that I've been making so much content for you guys, and Patreon content, that I don't even know which one I posted anymore. And I was talking about the little g and the big G, and how a lot of people don't understand the reference with little g and big G. Okay, so in Hebrew, they don't have capital letters. So I was thinking, okay, well, how do they know to put that in there? Like, I tried to debunk myself, and that's a firm part of the research, you know. But it says, in whom the God of this world, which we already know isn't a God because it's of this world. And God is not of this world, and we are not of this world. And that's how they got that. So it's just really interesting, and I'm making a whole video on the God of this world to which celebrities worship and false prophets. Those of you who've been part of the Obasi posse for a long time have been also requesting me to do videos on the false prophets and false teachers like Joel Osteen. So you guys see me expose celebrities and expose, you know, Dr. Phil and the New Age movement and all these symbolisms and stuff like that. And I am finally getting around to it. So I did this whole video. It's pretty long, and it's pretty much almost done, and that'll be released in the new year. And that's why I highlighted that. So went on a little tangent. So you have to know the difference between the God of this world to which they are thanking and speaking about versus our one true God, Elohim, Yeshua HaMashiach, Yahweh, etc. That's an important difference to know, because I've been reading a lot on the deception of this world and the devil. I mean, even my holiday playlist, my holiday series is just eye-opening for me, and also scary. And there is a saying that when you go to church, your toes should be bleeding because they stomped on your toes so much. There's like that saying. It shouldn't be a place where you feel so great about yourself, because the word is harsh. It's harsh in a way that makes you right. That you know, how do I explain this? The word is like a very strict father, which is true. I mean, that's what it is. And it's gonna appear hurtful, and you're gonna get almost mad at the word when you shouldn't, because the word never lied to you. You just been listening to, you didn't know the word, and this is your weapon. And the Bible talks about having only one weapon, and the weapon is to know the word. Before I started to actually read the Bible would actually almost repulse me. And I say that in a way because I was so deceived in thinking that it was such the core of deception and destruction, which is what the enemy and Satan and stuff like that wants you to think. It's in the Luciferian doctrine, which I'll be doing a video on very soon. And the Luciferian doctrine is basically discussing the synagogue of Satan, which the Bible references. And if you haven't seen my Canon video, I made references to the synagogue of Satan as well. And once you start correlating all these things together, it's almost overwhelming in the brain, which is why sometimes it's hard for me to articulate. And it's also hard for me to put into videos, because it is so deep and so much. But it's like, once you start connecting the dots, you get so addicted and you want more. And the Bible talks about the weapon, right? Like to put on the armor of God, and it talks about the only weapon that you have is a sword, and the sword is to know God's word. I was researching last night, and I was reading the Bible, and I was researching what spiritual warfare basically meant, and I'm really excited to do a video on it. I'm going to put it on my list over there of videos to do. And it was talking about, you know, the helmet, the breastplate of righteousness. And it talks about the sword being your only weapon, and your weapon is to know the word. Because even doing this on my journey closer to God and doing YouTube, there are people in the comments who swear and who do know certain things, but they don't know the context of the word. And it could be so easily manipulated and orchestrated and justified to fit whatever agenda that you want, and make it look like it is really what the Bible says. And this, so far, what I'm speaking about today, And I really put in hours in this, and I'm not even close to touching the halfway point in learning. I have so much more to learn with all my other research, and the Bible is the backbone of my research. I research this, I research this, I research this, and I check it with this. And you have to know the word, because that's your weapon to fight off the other doorways of deceit that happen in spiritual warfare, because we see a physical realm. So me, you, physical things we touch, and we don't see the spiritual realm in regards to what's going on. And the more that you become closer to God and know the truth and know the way things are supposed to be that liberates you, as that saying goes, the truth will set you free, is the more that you are an actual target spiritually. Because the devil isn't worried about, for example, these other people who are lost, you know, they're finding their own way to hell on their own, essentially. He's worried about the people finding God, because those are the enemies. Those are the target. If that makes sense. I'm going to do a whole video on it. I'm going off on another tangent. And there's just so many things that I want to talk about, because when you understand them, it's just a very liberating feel. And once you understand the Bible, you really understand politics. You understand the world, the finance, and you also understand that you kind of don't want anything to do with it. And it kind of breaks you out of like this matrix type thing that everyone talks about being in, and breaking out of the matrix. And what that really means to me is like breaking out of all the lies and deceptions of the Luciferian doctrine and the elites that run and operate the synagogue of Satan since the beginning of time, since ancient Babylon. That brings me on to my next point, which brings me on to another video where I'm discussing the solar minimum we're about to be entering, and the deception that even Bill Gates, who is launching by February 2021, an independent advisory board will vote on whether or not to do what Bill Gates has funded to dim the sun through ScopeX, which is basically shooting particles into the atmosphere to reflect the sun's rays to dim the sun. But the sun is dimming already. The sun is dimming already. We are entering 2020 is the new solar cycle, the 25th solar cycle, in a grand solar minimum, which means we will be experiencing less solar activity, which means we will be experiencing more galactic radiation rays that harm us, and it will be a weakened sun, a weakened magnetic field, and you guys need to understand what that does to us. And it will be hotter hots and very colder colds, to the point where it will be similar to the Dalton minimum, which will be like a mini ice age. And NASA, who was once reporting on this, is not reporting on this any longer, because of course money and whoever's funding it involved and things like that. And that's a whole other thing. And again, I'm going on tangents because it's just overwhelming. Okay, my camera just died, but again, bringing out the matrix, what's going on with the solar minimum and the climate change and how that goes into the Iron Mountain report and climate change. But the climate change they're talking about, which I mentioned so long ago, is not the climate change they're referring to, and how it disarms the public. But they're disarming the public because they don't know what's going on. Same thing that happened in 2012, and reading the book Dark Winter, which is what you often hear them refer to as a dark winter. I don't know if you guys listen to the politics and things like that. Dark winter, they're talking about the grand solar minimum. This is a book recommendation I have on my website if you want to go on there. And breaking out of the matrix, referring to my goal of the new year, which is to really become more closer with God, and breaking out of these societal constructs and ways of what's deemed successful. I really am putting God as my priority, and I do this because of my firm belief and faith and research in Him as the Creator, and me wanting the reward of everlasting life. And I know that it may sound kind of cliche, but I'm very serious about it. So I'm looking actually to buy a farm. I'm actually looking to rent a farm to see if I like it, to see if I can handle it, because I'm a city girl. This is new for me. A city girl, hustler by blood, very, I mean, you guys who know me for a while know where I've came from and the things that I've came from. So to go off grid, rent a farm, and try to figure out that kind of peaceful, nature-esque lifestyle will be a change for me, and I'm very excited for it. But that's my personal goal for this new year, and I'm looking at places, but it's very hard to find a farm to rent. You can find them to buy, but to rent is extremely difficult to find, at least over where I'm at. So that's my goal, to kind of break out, and I've been breaking out of it more and more, where I've kind of isolated myself in a way, but I'm happy. I don't really want the worldly things that I used to kind of obsess over or want or feel that, you know, and I've never been that way since the beginning, but I was a little bit, you know, like everyone is, and I'm really excited about it, because also in the terms of the Grand Solar Minimum, they're also, you know, the CEO of Impossible Foods came out with that statement. If you guys don't know, Impossible Foods, it's a company that makes like these plant-based things, and I've done videos on their food is changing, and I've talked about why I don't believe in the whole commercialized veganism, keyword commercialized veganism, meaning those burgers and stuff like that, and big plants and all these things. Trying to get rid of, and you see all the commotion with the defunding of fossil fuels, stuff like this, and they're trying to centralize our food system and make GMO humans for GMO foods and lab created foods. We're seeing insect proteins on the rise, and all these, you know, processed isolates. Oh, I see a spider, I think. And I want to grow my own food. I really want to grow my own food. I want to have actual cattle, actual goats, actual pigs and chickens and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'll start slow. I've talked about this before, where I've done book recommendations for my prepping, like prepper books for reference. They're on my website as well. And I told you guys that I wanted to start with chickens and honeybees. And then my next thing that I would get would be a goat, you know, because it's smaller. Obviously before I buy a cow or a pig, obviously. And I'm already growing ginger root here, and I'm growing basil, which is, I mean, it's hard for me. It's new. It's very scary, and I've got all these gardening books, but one of the books that I got imported from the UK maybe 6 months ago was how to growing a backyard winter garden, I believe it was called. And I think I spent a pretty good price on it, because they're coming out of print. And I mentioned that in another video that I did of Fahrenheit 451, and how books are starting to not only get manipulated, but with getting out of print. And you can't rely totally on communications, which has to do again with the communication blackout, and the video got taken down, and then the cybersecurity and all that other stuff, and the cyber pandemic that I am telling you guys about. The magnetic field of the sun, in terms of the dark winter and the solar minimum and the upcoming ice age, has to do with the magnetic field of the sun. That's why Korea just ran their artificial sun for a whole 20 seconds. If you guys didn't know they were building an artificial sun, now you know. And I mentioned that in my video that I'm working on. They just came out with that article yesterday. There's a problem if they're trying to invent an artificial sun, wouldn't you think? It doesn't have to do with global warming, wouldn't you think? The global warming that we're hearing and stuff, and how the ice is melting. No, we're forming. Okay, there's different things going on. It says how the sun is calling a 30-year cold spell. So I'm trying to learn how and make my steps. You know, my New Year's goals personally are to make the steps to grow closer to God, getting out of the matrix, more off-grid and low-key, and finding, you know, a husband, and possibly having a child, and living like this wholesome life, because that's a gift. It's something that I never wanted, because I went through a lot of things in my life, and I never wanted a husband. I never wanted to live with a man. I never wanted a kid. And I, you know, through reading the Bible, it has rejuvenated my spirit to want these things, because they're beautiful. The world just makes them ugly. You know, and I want to grow my own food, and I want to be independent. I don't want to be in the rat race in the city, money hungry and obsessed with these worldly things. I don't really, you know, I don't care. I want to be taken care of. I want to have food on my table, and I want my things paid. I mean, doesn't everybody? But I don't care about this other crap. I really don't. And you know, they're gonna get rid of meat, actual meat. Their goal is between 2030 and 2040, which is very soon. That's 10 to 20 years, in between 10 to 20 years. And it's literally already happening now. And I want to be prepared for that, and for the cold spell, and for anything that's happening, you know. Because they try to make you feel like you don't have a choice. And I always say this, you have a choice always. And I know maybe many of you will maybe not agree with me, or maybe not be growing with me in this direction, but it's the direction that I'm growing in and will be pursuing for 2021 here on my channel. Is I will be incorporating a lot of God's word, because I'm finding a lot of truth in it. And again, before, I may have been in your space, I mean, I definitely have been in your space with, you know, never opening the Bible but discrediting it, and kind of just, I didn't know the word, and to this day I still don't know all the word. I mean, there's so much to learn. But once you start knowing it, it's like the most credible thing you will ever read in your life, and I really believe that. And once you bring the Bible in, it's just a whole another level, and there's just so much to learn. I'm also working on these new like vegan proteins, and then the health effects and stuff that a lot of people think is healthy, but it's really, really disruptive to, and not only neurologically, but to your, I mean, everything in your body. And I'm doing a lot of research with that. This was one of the books I was referencing when I was making that video, which was funny because I picked up this book years ago at some Christmas party with these people I didn't even know. I was like a wandering, you know, girl then looking for family. And they gave it to me, and they were like, you know, no one will read it, basically. But I wanted to read it, and that this book actually kind of almost started my whole thing with reading. So I was using this as some reference to some research I was doing. But I'm very excited to talk to you guys about all the videos that's coming up. I'm working very hard, so I thought I would come on this live. If you guys want good highlighter recommendations for your Bible, I love these. They're like gel highlighters, but they're not gel. They're like the old school ones. They're like that wax crayon, like if you ever decorated Easter eggs and would have that wax crayon to make like a design on the egg. That's kind of like the consistency of these, and it's nice. So I don't know what you guys are doing on your New Year's. Last New Year's I went to a few parties with some friends. And this year I'm staying home, and I'm not really excited about it. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to go out. I'm really excited. I've been looking for these farms to rent and places to move. I want to move definitely before spring and really start that journey, and I'm really excited to actually vlog about it and show you guys how, like, someone that is very inexperienced can kind of learn how to really break out of the matrix and the worldly things, start, you know, being independent and off-grid. And I don't know, I'm in that phase in my life where I'm kind of rejecting everything that I'm being given, if that makes sense. If you are on my Patreon, I've made posts about how I don't even really want a cell phone, but I have it for other reasons. But I actually, once I get my forever home, or a home that I buy, not rent, to put an actual landline in there with a cord, not a landline that's cordless, with a cord, because the Wi-Fi and all these Bluetooth, everything is just so detrimental to your health and your brain waves. And I mean, I've been researching so much stuff, and I'm just like, why is no one fighting and rejecting this? And what's even more crazy is that maybe some of you who are watching this right now are rejecting what I'm saying and being like, wow, you're taking it too far, you're crazy, now you're turning into this like Jesus freak and like all this other stuff. What's really sad and shocking almost is like that the norm, which I think is the way that I'm stepping into, is so abnormal right now. Which brings me into another video that I'm trying to articulate without offending too many women especially, is how women have just really lowered the bar in terms of how they act. You see on social media all this stuff about sugar daddies and, you know, being the prettiest one, and just very like, oh, you can't tell me nothing, and I'll reject you if you can't buy me a bottle of Hennessy. or take care of me. If you're not paying my bills, I'll get an OnlyFans, and all these videos coming out now on how to be a stripper, to how to have an OnlyFans account, and how those aren't censored, which is mind-boggling to me, because if I had a daughter, God forbid, she would be on YouTube just Googling whatever, and then sees a video on how to be a stripper, make all this money, and it looks glamorous and great. It's absolutely disturbing. I have friends who text me all the time, you know, literally, you should get an OnlyFans and stuff like that. And then I get discredited for kind of like looking how I look and posting this type of content. You know what I mean? I get ridiculed for it. And especially women, older women too, have a problem with me making content like this because, you know, I am younger and I don't look a certain look, if you guys know what I'm saying. And I read, and I've always had a problem with these type of things. I never knew how to articulate it. And part of the Luciferian doctrine is to reduce women and brainwash them to behave at a level that is so morally low that it actually causes men to not respect and kill all the chivalry. And it becomes this cycle, which is where marriages and love will break, the sacred union of a sexual relationship breaks, that it's just, and it's really, I mean, and what's toxic about it is that, for example, if a girl gets an OnlyFans, if you guys know what that is, and then, you know, they're with the boyfriend and the boyfriend gets mad, but then it's like the boyfriend's fault. And then the boyfriend could get mad, for example, but then the boyfriend, let's say, has an OnlyFans where he like watches that stuff. OnlyFans is porn. I don't get why, I mean, all these girls are encouraging all these other girls to like do porn. It's like mind-blowing to me. That's the lowest level of society. When you're a sexual slave, because that's what it is, or sexual work, it's a sad spot to be in. You know what I mean? It's the lowest form of a person in society. It is lower than an actual slave. Like, even if we're talking about slavery, it's lower than slavery because it's your body. It's literally the thing you have that no one can take from you. That people are now, I mean, they would try to take it from you, and then now they're convincing you to give it up and forfeit it, just like a lot of our liberties, for example, like masks in the store, or like these, you know, vaccination things, or having social media. By having social media, you're forfeiting your liberties because they track you. I mean, they listen to you. They do all these other things. So instead of taking it, which is something they used to do, they are brainwashing you to forfeit it and think that you're empowered by doing so. It's a whole thing, and a lot of people could get offended by the things that I say because it's confusing. And I understand, and I feel it's heartbreaking that it's confusing, but that's what the devil does. That's the Luciferian doctrine. That's what runs this world, is the synagogues of Satan and the Luciferian doctrine. And it's just, you know, women should have a certain level. Men have a lower morality in terms of certain things. That's just how men are designed. I'm not saying men are worse or anything like that by any means. I'm not like one of those weird feminists, you guys already know. I'm very much into the traditional rules. But women have really lowered the bar, you know, and it's just, I want to do a whole video on it. I just haven't been able to articulate my thoughts too properly, and this goes again with desensitizing and why I actually had to break up and had fights with, you know, my exes in the past for refusing to watch certain movies with too much violence or nudity or things like this. I refused to watch it at that time because it felt wrong. It hurt my soul. And also a lot of it was a trigger because I had a very rough past, and what people may find entertainment, like murder mysteries and you know, Criminal Minds, or, you know, these movies and, you know, whatever it is used to be like real life for me. So what people find entertaining is just, I mean, it's morbid, you know? And it's something to look at in yourself, because maybe you do this too, and then when you realize, like, wow, what am I watching? Why am I finding this entertaining? It's kind of scary, you know? I don't know if that makes sense, but I used to get in fights all the time, and they would make me feel like I was so crazy. Come to find out, I'm reading more, I'm researching more. Even in the old book of propaganda, this was written in the 1800s, this was all orchestrated, part of the plan to desensitize, bring down morality, and this was all, you know what I mean? And it's like your intuition, what I like to call infused knowledge, which I believe I've always had, and I think a lot of people have it, and they've been so brainwashed and it had other people make them feel crazy that they were either a certain way or wrong for thinking those things, you know? And it's just, I don't know if this is making sense, guys. Again, I want to do a video on this, but I have a very hard time articulating all my thoughts because I feel like I know so much, and it's all shooting at me from different angles and different books and literature and stuff that I've been reading that I don't know how to articulate it in a sentence off the top of the dome, you know? But, it's something I've been growing into and realizing, even with women, and it's sad that it's become so normalized, and that you're toxic if you don't want your girl to be this way, or if you're toxic if you don't want your man to be this way, and it's like this whole toxic cycle. Like, break from it. Like, they entrapped you. You need to break from it. It's a doorway that you opened that a demon is literally in, and if you're having a hard time breaking from it, it means that demon has, that doorway that you open has power over you. It has a lot to do with even New Age doctrine. It's a whole lot. It's a lot. I don't know if I made sense. I probably maybe sound a little bit crazy, but I don't even know if you guys are still hanging on with me on this. I've been really chatty. I want to make spinach and artichoke dip. I've never made it before. And I have canned artichokes. And now my SD card just ran out of time. So that means that I've been talking too much. I'm going to get this video up, and I have another video for you guys that I'm going to post either tonight or tomorrow. But I'm definitely posting this one today. It's New Year's Eve today. It's about 11 in the morning. And I'm going to make my spinach and artichoke dip. Stay at home tonight. I'm going to do a lot more reading of scripture. I want to finish my Dark Winter book, and just stay at home, and like, that's fine. If you are not having plans for New Year's and you're staying home and stuff, like order a pizza or make some fun food, cook a new meal, find a new recipe, grow a skill set, and read something interesting, and fuel your soul. Your soul is you need to take care of it. So I don't know, I'm gonna be a busha over here like always. That's my plans. If you have not supported me on Patreon yet and have been thinking about it, I would really love for you to take the little baby steps and support me over there. It really helps me. They are really suppressing my content. I'm still censored and demonetized. So all this work is just, you know, it's been tough. So if you're willing to support me for the new year, I would really greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope some of it made sense and I wasn't talking too crazy for you. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Happy New Year! Mwah! And she wants to be in the live too. This is Tiki, for anyone who doesn't know. I actually am allergic to cats. I had to get her so Taffy wouldn't be alone all the time, and they were like sisters. Let me see if I can find Taffy to show you. Yeah, so this is Taffy. She's my favorite. She has the most personality. She's a little chunky thing. But she was my first cat. I was so sick because I was allergic, but they were going to kill them. So I took her in, and then I took her to the vet. And the vet told me that cats typically live longer when they have another cat living with them as like a friendship, because they're very independent and kind of to themselves. And I don't know, I was working all the time, so that's why I got her Tiki, her sister. And then I was even more sick, and now I am immune to their danders. Other cats, like if I go to a friend's house or something, I can feel the allergies. I mean, I'm fine, I deal with it, but them I'm okay with. So she's been through a lot with me, and I love her very much. And then, of course, Penny wants to wish you all a Happy New Year. She has a little eye booger. She's not camera ready. And, yeah. I love when she does that with her. Penny! Isn't she so cute? Oh, okay, so I just wanted to give all my little animals a shout out.